Are you Mandalorian?
I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy, like my father before me.
3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. Matthew, Dylan, Callan.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of the 3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. I'm Matthew Mole, your host, and joining me tonight are my two co-pilots, Callan Gardner and Dylan Chikalis. Callan, how are you, mate?
I'm good, Matty. I'm very good. It's been a had a week off, so I'm pretty much raring to go. Star Wars up.
Feeling refreshed?
Filled to the brim. Feeling refreshed, although I did have a power nap this half, which I was snuck it in with about 20-minute.
Yeah.
Mrs. didn't know about it, so that was good.
I'm sure she listens to this podcast.
Oh, yeah. Deal. What's going on with you, dude?
Man, I've been all about the past week or so. So my missus family, some of them got COVID, so they've been in ISO, been trying to help out where I can, which meant, I became a close contact, so I had to do my days, couldn't go to the gym. Man, I've been a depressed mess, if I'm being honest. But, Book of Boba came around and I got to watch it with my old man, and we're going to get into it later, but, how good was it? That was my highlight.
You would like it. COVID seems to be running rampant. 2/3 of this podcast are in jeopardy, but if your name's Matt, you seem to be safe, and tonight we have a very special guest, the son of the West, the Daimyo of Pigstrict 9, and our good buddy, Matthew Frost. Welcome.
Good evening, gents. Thanks for having me back on.
Mighty Daimyo.
The Daimyo of Pigstrict 9. I think I'm the janitor of Pigstrict 9, mate. I was out there today cleaning it out. So I don't think Boba Fett does his own raking out of poo and hay. So yeah,
But he stands on his own 2 feet, but droids dress him.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And I don't see a lot of the I don't see Cuddles or Wigson or Minchin coming to me with many tributes. It's just lots of poo.
Pellet-like tributes.
Yeah. I just put my helmet down and they just fill it with pellets.
Oh dear. Classic stuff.
You never disappoint, Frosty.
So how are you, Matty? What's been happening?
I am very good. I'm sweating a bit. It's we've got a bit of Sydney-like weather here in Adelaide at the moment, so the cricket's been rained off, and it's quite humid. So everything's pretty good here. I'm pretty happy.
That's good to hear.
Have you been loving the Boba Fett? Have you been getting into it a bit?
I've been watching it, and I've been watching it within a day of it coming out. So that's
better than me.
Yeah.
I do a podcast.
Yeah.
Callan didn't even know it came out on Wednesday still about a week ago.
So I've definitely been watching it. So yeah.
And how has it hit you, Matty? You and I enjoy. I usually get a text around 12:30 the next day. That seems to be your prime viewing hour.
I do tend to watch them pretty late. Yeah. Yep. It's I don't dislike it by any stretch, but it's pretty different. There's some bits in there that I just laugh at. There's bits that I groan at, there's bits that I think, that's pretty damn cool. So yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
It's a real mixed bag. It's a mix of tones and, but I encourage that. I think that's good. So, yeah.
Nice.
Did you expect to hear the word bugger in a Star Wars?
No, I did not. No. Has he used it? Has he mated it? I'd like to hear him champ someone. Yeah, just go, yeah. Oh, no, don't touch my gun, champ.
I don't think we're far off.
Thames brought a few words in. I've never heard in Star Wars, sit down, have a chat. And then there was, I think I swallowed the bugger. And now there's mate. Like,
Yeah.
mate, if you can get,
We're going to be able to start playing Star Wars bingo soon. Let's just start making a chart.
Yeah.
It's a drinking game.
can we get Boonta into Star Wars? That's that will be a big day.
Wasn't there? I feel like this has come up before. Wasn't the pod race the Boonta Eve Classic or something?
It was the Boonta Eve, actually. Yes. So
Because I remember finding that extremely amusing at the time when it came out. Like, you know, being a bit of a bogan from the country and you having to drive like an hour to the next biggest town to even watch the Phantom Menace. I think we thought Boonta was quite funny. Yeah,
especially in Australia here. Now, Matty, what was the last Star Wars movie you watched? Just when was the last time you cracked open the cinema flick?
So I've been watching The Mandalorian with my daughter, but the last movie, I can't really remember. I reckon it probably would have been a comfort watch of Empire Strikes Back, I reckon. Yeah. No real surprise there. I did try to do Rise of the Skywalker once at home and no dice.
You got to be in the mood for some pain/comfort.
Yeah, only one I've never bought. I own the others all on 3D Blu-ray or whatever, and the Blu-ray box set. No, I never bought that one. So
yeah,
say something.
It's a tough one, especially when, I don't know, have you seen the new Spider-Man movie?
No, I haven't. I actually not the biggest. Like Spider-Man and Batman were my two superheroes growing up, but I didn't really think the Spider-Man movies were that good in the new Marvel thing. Probably compared to the other ones, it was not bad by any stretch. Like I thought, but when you watch something a long time after everybody else has watched them, and like everyone was going,
generally always me.
Yeah.
Or Dylan if you're rebels.
So I think I saw Spider-Man Homecoming? What's the first one?
Homecoming, and then there's Far From Home, and then there's No Way Home. Yeah. Just like Djokovic, sent back home.
Next one's work from home. Yeah, so I didn't see Homecoming till like 2 years after it came out. And,
I haven't seen it yet.
And everyone had said how good it was, and you go in and you think, well, it's just a movie. It's just another Marvel movie. But I do like Spider-Man. So
I suggest you give the three Marvel ones a Spider-Man a run. That's how you finish a sort of trilogy, I think. If we've got that sort of quality writing and, I don't know, creative collaboration, Rise of Skywalker could have been really good if it's done that way. Don't you think, Dylan?
Yeah, for sure. I think Marvel just do it better, you know? It's hard to say. I think they do it better.
Yeah.
I think they've got a longer period. And, they've been pumping movies out.
I think they've got more creative,
double the amount.
They've got a lot more people involved in Marvel than they have over at Star Wars, or until recently. So
it's a modern franchise. Currently, they're setting the franchise, whereas Star Wars was embedded, 20 or 40 years ago now, and you sort of can't really bend that space-time continuum. And if you even think about renaming a starship, you get some certain pockets of the internet going Boonta, which we'll go into a bit later on with the Firespray.
The Boonta Eve Classic. Well, comic book movies have, just by their nature, they've got a lot more to work from. Like comic book readers are used to things being rebooted and changed up and new timelines and all that sort of stuff.
You also have pre-existing hype.
Third Spider movie timeline it's a third timeline for Spider-Man movies that I know of. Like
fourth,
and they're all good. Fourth. There you go. So they've just got so much. Like Star Wars is, unfortunately, it's got the tightest parameters to work in, and that can't be easy. Like for for the writers and directors and creative people. Like, it's one timeline. It's got to marry up to everything and meet everyone's expectations. And when they canned all the books when Disney bought them, people, like a lot of people, were really upset. Probably rightly so. They follow that, and that's their Star Wars and stuff. But I'd rather be a writer for a comic book franchise than for Star Wars. It's got to be a lot easier.
So, do you reckon who did they have writing when those Power Ranger Vespers came out? What do you reckon?
I don't know, but I think they might have been drunk.
Well, that's just actually. I've had a chance to. I mean, look, I don't think they're great, but I'm trying to get into the mindset of Favreau when he wrote. I mean, because in his mind, when he's doing this, I think he's thinking American Graffiti, George Lucas. George would have loved this sort of Vespa speed bike sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
What, the slowest chase on the face of the galaxy?
Well, that was very much a George Costanza in the Rascal sort of speed chase at 8 miles an hour.
I reckon if you caught someone walking past them, it would have been just the same speed. It was horrible.
It didn't look.
It reminded me of that Simpsons episode where, is it Sideshow Bob's in a biplane or something, and they send out jet fighters to and they keep flying past him, and they end up walking after him. So yeah.
It's just like there was a Fast and the Furious type off the top in a Vespa. You're like, here we go. Oh, come on.
Yeah, that was low. So, Matty, just give us a quick rating on the first 3 episodes, and which one you liked most. Give us your best, your worst, and your middle of the first 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, the first 3, yeah. So the best one I thought was the second one.
Yeah.
The middle was the first one, and the third one was easily the lowest for me. But I really like what you said before about, like, you know, trying to, like Jon Favreau trying to channel George Lucas, and he'd like this sort of thing and stuff. And I really respect them trying to bring in new flavours like that. But at some stage, you got to just go on your own. You can't just be wondering what George would do all the time. You can't just think, oh, what samurai movie are we going to copy, and, you know, Western stuff like that. You're going to have to jump out of the nest at some stage and just try and do your own thing.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Favreau seems to have this. Oh, you go, mate.
I was just going to say, and I think that's what Visions did really well. Like, we went into a completely new world and a realm of the unknown, complete creative freedom. And some of those stories that we've seen in Visions would be incredible if they fleshed them out. And it's different. So,
yeah. It's left field.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Maddie, did you watch Visions? I'm leaning towards negatory.
No, it's not. I haven't. It's not that I won't. But I haven't. Yeah.
Not on the to-do list at the moment.
We could probably give you a list of the episodes that are worth watching and tell you what to avoid.
Okay. Yeah.
I've only watched one and a half of them, don't worry.
I haven't given I didn't watch the Marvel cartoon either.
What If?
The What If?
Yeah, I didn't watch that. And I tried to watch Hawkeye, but I was really busy and I did the wrong and the thing is, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have put it on to start with. But I had it on, but I was doing other stuff. And that's just, I know myself well enough to know I just shouldn't do that because, and I was getting up and doing things. And I sat back down and somebody mentioned the tracksuit mafia. And I'm just like,
what?
Oh, I'm out. Because all I could think of is, because I lived in London for a couple of years and there's these, like, you know, there's this subculture called chavs. Yes. They all wear tracksuits, and all I could think of was like, is Hawkeye fighting? Yeah. Is Hawkeye fighting Ali G in the chavs? Like, and I didn't even finish the episode. I was out. So,
I think Dylan's not a fan of Hawkeye. Did you finish it in the end?
Yeah, I finished it. It was just a bit weak. was very weak. There was nothing in that. I think there were 2 moments in the entire series that I was like, this is sick. And it was the bridge scene with all the different trick arrows, and at the end when they're on the ice with the trick arrows. That was the only 2 sequences that I enjoyed. The whole thing was just, I don't know, just a bit boring. So I'm a hard man to please.
I haven't finished it either.
I reckon that's the best thing about the Book of Boba Fett, because even though I can't say I'd never say I think it's a good show, but I've never been bored watching it.
Yeah.
And there's at least been, I've got a couple of laughs out of every episode. And, there's a couple of things that have made me laugh because they're a bit silly. And there's been a couple of things I thought is really cool. And you know what? If that's all I get out of an episode, out of a series of Star Wars, a few laughs and a few cool bits and stuff like that, it's good enough for me. So.
I think you take it I was explaining your how you take and watch shows to someone. I don't know who it was from a previous ep, and I was saying you just don't stop take, like we interviewed you way back when, and we're like, just don't take seriously too much and take it for what it is and see the detail and see the fun in it. And I think Boba Fett, like when I heard Bugger, I was like, okay, this is how this is going to roll. Cool. And I was like, so I agree with that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think the way I try to sort of watch things is like not to even care too much about how I even think about it. Like I don't if I like, because I like some absolute trash, like some real trash, like some of the trashiest horror movies ever made. Like I've got, I own them, love them, watch them. Like I'm not sensitive about other people's opinions. If people think, look, that is the worst shit I've ever seen, I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair call. Like, so I find it really weird when people get really precious about other people's opinions. Like, why don't you like what I like? Like, let me explain to you why this is good. Like, I don't get that. I'm more interested if like my favourite movie is Jaws. If somebody says, I can't stand that movie, I'm like, oh, wow, why? Like, I'd rather know. Like, yeah, because that's a more interesting conversation than somebody going, oh, yeah, I love that movie too. Well, what the hell are you going to talk about? Like, so I reckon it's fun if you don't. If
everyone sees it a different way.
Yeah, that's where the fun is. Like,
well, I think the good thing about Boba for you as well is there's not a unanimous gushing people just going, this is groundbreaking television, and it's just the tidal wave of awesomeness that cannot be surpassed. It's being taken in its stride, and I think the last 4 episodes they've really laid groundwork. And I was thinking about it today because my wife was saying, oh, it's just okay, and it hasn't been like Mandalorian, and Mandalorian was different in that you're able to sort of start a whole new piece of fabric with brand new characters. You can throw in a something huge like a Baby Yoda and sort of just start afresh, whereas Boba Fett has people like whores and lifelong fans that, if you even just change a tiny bit of fabric or the armor, they'll just go crazy. And so they've had to sort of redevelop or fill in his character. Well, he didn't have much, all of his character background
didn't have a character.
was just made up in sandpits of every person of the last 40 years, and they made up their own story. So now we're making his story, and it's taking time to settle in, but week 1, everyone's like, oh, this is terrible. It's not what I expected. Week 2, fuck, this is amazing. Week 3, what the fuck are those Vespers? And now week 4 is like, oh, he's doing some things that I'm getting back on board with. So, it's hard. It's funny how we do these week to week, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I've got a question for Cal.
Yeah. I know what the question is.
How hard is Boba now?
One of my notes I took this week was I've been saying Frosty that he's been a bit of a bitch.
So did Fennec. Fennec said that too. But Sand people made him strong.
And I reckon this episode was we'll get into it later. My favourite episode so far. I really enjoyed it, and it was cracking a few skulls. You know, talk about being in a sandpit or something like that when I'm younger. That's what he always thought Boba was. Big hard ass, and it was pretty funny. And I got to see a band that burp.
Boba was hard, and so was I.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Thank God this is after 10 p.m. It's not just yet. But look, well, let's get into the episode. I mean, episode 4, The Gathering Storm. You know, Maddie, what do you think of this this use of storytelling with the back to tank flashback moment? We call it flashback juice, where they
that's a good name. I have actually been listening to all your reviews, so I'm up to date with all your thoughts and stuff. It's cool but predictable. Like it's a great way of them. It's a great framing device, but you know it's not the most surprising thing in the world. But you know, like
Star Wars still. Yeah. Like Star Wars is a Star. You know about them, and you've seen them. So
Star Wars generally doesn't do a lot of flashbacky stuff. So it's only really the last 2 movies that started to do that sort of stuff. So I think it's good. Yeah, I like the and it's made for some of the cooler. I reckon his flashback stories so far has probably been the stronger part of the.
Yeah, I definitely think until this episode, the flashbacks have been the best elements of the show up until now.
Well, I mean, it's been 80% of the show, so to speak. Like
I was going to say, this episode was pretty much...
It was like 36 minutes flashback, 12 minutes modern, and sort of a rehash of what we already knew. But, I mean, you know, it was good. Like, I love how literally there's no more trailer left. Like, we literally got every single frame from the trailer we've seen now by the end of this, and you know you saw the you saw the
is that right? I didn't watch the trailer.
You sort of see the Jabba's palace recon. It was good to see the back of the palace. You know you just can't do it alone, and that sort of leads into you know I love this sort of like I mean you say it's a bit soft cow, but I mean Boba loves his animals. How do you feel about his love for animals?
I actually think it's actually pretty cool. I like the fact that the Rancor and you know the Rancor's in there. He wanted to get to know it. It's pretty funny. It's fun. It makes me laugh. Like I just picture like big softy just having a cat, like being a cat, old like heaps of cats when he's older or some shit running around Jabba's palace. The bantha fucking patted it and it burped at him.
Giving a chicken name, Maddie. You're an animal man.
Tongue.
Yeah, I love the his sort of liking of animals. So like you mentioned Hawes before, big animal lover. You know that would have floated his boat. But the biggest apart from Hawes, the biggest Boba Fett fan I know, who I used to mercilessly mock Boba Fett when we were, you know, younger, like just for, you know, fun. And, he is a bit of a hard ass on the outside, but he's the sort of guy that sits on his farm, sits under a tree and quietly cuddles his chickens, come up for a cuddle. So I know that he'll be enjoying. I haven't. He was. He hadn't caught up with it yet. He was saving it till his son, so they could all watch it. He could watch it with his son, but he'll be loving the Rancor and the bantha love from Boba.
Well, that's the thing. Funny thing enough, like Hawes, you know, you mentioned Hawes, and this is like just the show that's made for him. But he said, you know, he never felt that he could relate to Boba Fett in any shape, facet, or form until he saw him cuddling a bantha and riding it. You know, he shares the affinity for animals. So I mean, and that just adds to his love for the show. I mean, yeah, he's absolutely gushing, and it's great to see. And look,
it's a great point you make. Like, because if they'd tried to make a Boba Fett series and not characterize him. Like if he was just going to be sort of a cipher behind a helmet and just make him sort of be that enigmatic character, like you've sort of already done that with The Mandalorian a bit. And So they had to. That would have been a dumb decision to try and do that again. People would have just like your casual people would turn off. So they had to characterize him in some way. So they had to decide on what the guy's personality is, because it's not been like it's an open book. So that can't have been easy. And I think they've done a pretty good job, really. Like he's kind of clueless. He's kind of kind. He's kind of hard. He's kind of a lot of things and he's kind of, and Tamira Morrison has kind of not been given a lot of direction by the directors, I don't think. I think they're just letting him go.
Exactly,
So
it's funny, like someone was saying the other day, like, if he just came out like the Terminator and just destroyed everything in his path, it would be lacklusterly boring. Like, it would lose its interest after 1 or 2 episodes. I mean, some of those crazy fanboys, but that's what I'm here for, and then everyone else would be like, well, I don't want to see an invincible Terminator just plowing down everything with no one able to kill it or any decent storyline or plot.
It'd last 2 episodes. You'd be over it. It'd last.
Well, they kind of did that with the robot chicken stuff. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yes.
That's sort of like that's like.
Fuck, that's a throwback, Frosty. I need to go back and watch them.
Me too.
You know what? Because the movies are a bit intense, I used to watch the robot chicken stuff with my kids when they were real little. So, like my middle daughter, she relates to Darth Vader being like Inspector Gadget, like with roller skates popping out of his thing and having to go take a poo in the toilet and stuff like that. She loves it, and she used to go around singing Darth Vader's theme. Like, and it used to drive my wife nuts. Like,
Did you ever watch the Family Guy Star Wars specials, Blue Harvest?
So
and
good.
they were so funny.
The Jabba's Palace, like the Sarlacc scene that goes for like 45 seconds. Oh, that's just classic.
Family Guy's got the perfect, like, just make it awkwardly long.
Yeah.
It just that touch a little bit uncomfortable.
They do it well, don't they?
Yeah.
That's something I've got to go back and watch. That was a funny.
I think they made 2. Is it 2 or 3 of them?
They did 3.
3,
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen all 3.
Because in the third one, the power goes out and they go, oh, we're doing Jedi,
that's
aren't we?
That's it.
Yeah. But I thought both of them, the Robot Chicken stuff and the Family Guy stuff was pretty, and George loved that stuff. Like George Lucas was quite happy to give permission for people to take the piss. And I think Disney's probably pretty protective of their stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they did pay $4 billion, so it's like, don't take the. We'll take the piss with mum jokes in The Last Jedi or the Rise of Skywalker.
So I think. Yeah, I'd love for there to be more Robot Chicken or Family Guy. I probably prefer the Robot Chicken stuff just because I like that sort of sketch comedy sort of stuff. But I do like that. Some bits in Boba Fett feel like they could be in that Robot Chicken.
I think we'll get to
in that
the
mold.
droid and the rat thing a bit later on. But I only found out today, and I'm sure you saw this, Dylan, is. With the Banthas, it's got like 8 people to make it work. And I'm going to be honest, it doesn't look like the most efficient form of transport, but it does look so sick how he's riding it. And there's 4 people,
4 in the head,
making it work in the front, back, and side. And then there's 4 people also on animatronics making the tongue and everything just work. And apparently back in 1977 for the Bantha, it was just an elephant with the costume on, and they sort of CGI'd out the trunk.
No, didn't they do it? Wasn't it horsehair? They put extended horsehair.
I was watching that thing on New Rockstars, and that was awesome. Like, but no, it looks really realistic, and I don't know. They've really gone to good lengths to make things look really good, and I mean, I just loved that transition from night to day on that scene where you got the 2 suns and then it switches to the 3 moons.
Oh, yeah.
No fucking sunsets for a change. Jeez, how good's that?
I'm sure that one floated your boat really well, Matty. Just no deep red, just yellow to black.
Just
3 moons.
Just screen white, classic Star Wars screen wipe. On we go. Yeah.
Now, our good buddy Steele, when I saw the flares go off, Cal, what were you thinking when you saw those? It took a hot second to. I was like,
Oh, it's one of my questions. What the fuck are the flares? Where are they from? I couldn't register where they were from.
Oh, even I knew that.
so that's
I know they're in Mando, but I can't remember what happened in Mando.
So it's when, isn't it when Din is like Fennec sniping like Din and that over the dunes, and he shoots the flare up to blind Fennec Shan.
That's right. That's
You're
right.
spot on, Dylan,
Very good,
because
Dylan.
that was the episode that I watched with my daughter yesterday. So, yeah, so that's why I was pretending I knew all about it, but yeah, I literally watched it yesterday.
I have to say, I'm the same, Frost. I went back and I'm like, fuck, it's in here somewhere.
I watched it. I watched it again this afternoon. That scene. I YouTubed that scene, and I didn't get that. I'm a fucking idiot.
well,
We were watching that episode and building Lego Mandalorian and Baby Yoda Grogu. So, yeah, so
Good combination.
what's funny?
yeah,
I still
was
need
great
to
fun,
build my
actually, yeah.
Razor Crest. My Razor Crest is just sitting on my shelf looking at me every day. I'm like, fuck, I need to spend some time and build that thing.
Those things take forever.
Yeah. It's worth it though.
Well,
Okay, that explains my question.
that's a good one. Well, Steele's favorite character from Mando is Toro Calican, that horrendously terrible bounty hunter from that episode. And when I messaged him after it, he's like, "Have you watched?" And he's like, "Yes, I have Toro watched." So he was he
All
was
across
so
it.
happy. But I mean, what did you think of the mod repair?
What, T-Pain, Scissorhands?
Well, that was
It was fucking funny as. Fucking EDM, what this EDM, Tatooine, fucking EDM, fucking underground things going on.
Hold up. Take a step back.
so. What was it?
T-Pain.
T-Pain.
Scissorhands.
Scissorhands.
You see him?
And it's
No,
funny
he's
because
got T-Pain.
Callan works for a
T-Pain.
medical supply company, don't you?
Yeah. Man,
It's
he-
T-Pain pizza cutter.
Yeah, it was fucking funny. I was like, this is... It was hilarious. The music was funny.
There was some
Like, it
weird
just-
Star Wars, that's for sure.
It was... I really like the what do you call them, these guys? The bio...
Mods.
The mods.
Mods. The mods. I like that. It's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just funny that it's like sort of like underground. Like it's just like yeah, this guy's like he's tattooing someone, but he's fucking jabbing it with bolts.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I think on New Rockstars they talked about where they think they found the inspiration for the mods are. It's actually a group in the UK back in the day who rode around on the Vespers called the Mods. Let me look it up quickly.
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Yeah, so
Maddie was one of them back in the day.
so there were the mods and the rockers.
Yeah, right.
So
we
yeah,
might see
back in the 60s there was the greased hair pompadour,
Yep.
you know, rockers, and then there was the mods, and there was lots of fights and stuff like that. You can like
Turf wars and-
literally like where motorcycle gangs on scooters, and you know they're into a certain type of music, so the mods are into this music, and you know, so no, it's so ridiculously on the nose that they're clearly modelled off the mods, like yeah, which and me and your sometime co-host Turbo had a huge laugh about it being big music people that we are, because the mods was a huge music movement. So we're like, oh, it's just like the mods, like, you know, and we're making all those jokes, and then when we find out that they're actually called the mods, and that's when you got a choice, isn't it? You're either like, oh, well, that's taking all my fairy dust away, or you just have a laugh and you go with it because
Take the piss, have a laugh.
take the piss, have a laugh. So, but Callan, that is so spot on about the
Wait, that's the name. That's going to be the title of the
dance
show.
music and the what was it? T-Pain
T-Pain
Scissorhands.
Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Now,
It's just like you're a simple man making your way across the galaxy, being a bounty hunter. You don't know any basic first aid. You just go to a tattoo parlor to get them fixed up. Like, it's just like, oh.
It was funny that he walked in. He's like, "Why didn't you say that again? First or some shit?"
Why didn't you say that at the start? Yeah.
It was, but
it's poetry, it rhymes because they're now his gang. Like, and we get so like it's like reverse foreshadowing. It's like after shadowing.
Yeah. I like I'm taking the piss of the scene, but I actually thought it was pretty cool to see the blue, the blood, and it makes a lot of sense. I always wondered how that happened, so that was cool.
Well, Turbo will be gutted because he was certain there was going to be Dr. Mandible that repaired her, and he was gutted, but
he was. That's right. Yeah,
he was pretty certain, and that was one of his predictions. So that was an interesting scene, and then we move into some really great dialogue between Boba and Fennec, and and this is where this
go on, Matt. Say it.
And it's my favorite lines, like this
Left 4 Dead.
Who are you? He's like, I am Boba Fett. And she's like, Boba is dead. He's like, I was left for dead on the sands of Tatooine, like you, rescued by the Sand People. So
I actually heard you say it.
I was the same. So I said to Dad, I was like, Matt's been practicing this line for probably 3 months.
It's my favorite line. Even when it came off my wife, I paused. I went left for dead, and then she rolled her eyes, and we continued watching. And then,
do you think Tem is like, I only do one take? Yeah. Let's try it again. Nah, I only do it one take, mate. Bugger off.
But there was an interesting line there, Dylan, where Fennec goes, it's highly unlikely that Niktos defeated the Tuskens. What are your thoughts there on that? She sort of...
Because this is after he says that it was the Sand People, right? So is he trying to catch her out and say, like, see what her thoughts are on...
No. Well, he was just saying, oh, look, they took me in as one of their own. I tried to help them, and I got them absolutely slaughtered by Niktos. And she's like, Niktos defeating Tuskens? That seems quite strange. It's sort of insinuating other things are at play here.
Because she respects how competent the Tuskens are, but I think much like we've been saying, right, it's the Pikes have to have some sort of influence here with the Niktos, like whether they gave them the resources to be able to go and do that, because, the Niktos just seem like Boba took how many of them on with a gaffy stick? So, there's something definitely more at play here than
involved, 100%.
Yeah, they have to be. And, they've been set up in the previous episodes, so... And, I think Boba at this point in time is probably just so gut-wrenched that, he's looking for someone to blame, and he's seen them running around town, so...
With their sleeveless denim jackets.
Yeah.
Mate, have you seen those emblems?
Just in case you didn't make the correlation between those bad guys riding around on bikes and real-life bikies, they gave them sleeveless denim vests. So,
now, Matt,
with patches on the back, just in case you didn't get the reference. I really appreciate it because, like, in my excitement to watch it, I may have missed the fact that they were supposed to represent a motorcycle gang.
Calling them speed bikers and everything as well.
Yeah. That went straight over my head. It was only when I saw those sleeveless jackets, I was just like, oh. I get it. Like the Tatooine's Hell's Angels. I get it now. Yeah.
Now, Matty, there's a line that I'm going to come back to you after. He goes to Fennec, help me recover my Firespray gunship. Now, Matty, is your childhood ruined in this moment? Is the fairy dust gone? Or are you able to carry on without the term Slave One?
Nah, look, mate, if you'd encountered me earlier on in my life when I was drunk and I wanted you to drive my car home because I was pissed and you were sober, I wouldn't say, look, can you drive Grover home? I would
that's
say,
what I was thinking.
Can you drive my blue Holden Commodore station wagon home?
Frosty, I'm sensing a little bit of heartache there.
Yeah.
You Commodore, you miss it? Do you miss
I
it?
do. Sometimes, yeah.
Dylan, you're still a child. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I had the exact same thought process as Frosty. Like,
Exactly.
I don't. Slave One's known, but it's not. Boba's known. It's the Firespray is the class of ship, and it's not the only type of Firespray around.
Yeah,
so.
I thought.
Exactly. I mean, it's the memories of what the ship's done, not the name of the ship that has the
Correct.
attachment. Like, if you read, people don't like it because it's called the Millennium Falcons because what the ship's done. So,
Yeah, I think if he'd said Slave One, it just would have been a bit on the nose the other way for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have bothered me. I would have moved on. I don't really care. But yeah, I think if that's what people are locking onto, that's a weird thing.
They're honestly digging at the bottom barrel there, scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, some people live pretty close to that bottom.
some people live in that barrel, mate. That's just their postcode. Hair of the barrel.
Some people are well through the barrel and are halfway through the floor beneath it. Like,
And this is I'm not calling out anyone here, but has Adam said anything on this, Matt?
It's quite funny because he was actually going to give us some good entertainment because he wasn't happy with the Vesper episode, and then he asked if he could do a segment which was going to be Foti's fucking feedback, where he just gives us an incoherent rant for a minute. And I thought, well, that would be great if you could send it to us. We could listen to it and then critique it live on the pod. But he hasn't done it for 2 weeks. But he actually had a missed call from him yesterday. But he was furious about the Back to the Future fucking droid gang. And he goes, I feel like I'm watching RoboCop 3. I'm furious. Yeah, watching now, 5 minutes in, ducking hell. Yeah, he's not a fan. But there's bits that he loves and bits that he doesn't. So
who loves the chopping, the cooking droids?
Yeah,
Just me. This the guy
General
who's
Grievous? they've
chopping up
just
bok
made
choy
General
at the
Grievous
fucking-
number 2.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. I actually burst it. I nearly dripped my beer everywhere, and it just chopping up bok choy, just having a conversation. I thought that was fucking funny. Go
I was
find
on
a
board
rat
with
guy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, that droid is from somewhere.
So that's a LEP droid. That's from Clone Wars.
Lep droid.
It's
Oh,
they've brought
well
that brought it to life, and also in that they had another cooking droid that was EV9D9 from Return of the Jedi.
Was it that droid though?
It was
or
that
was it the
droid.
same type?
so the torture droid is now cooking.
So no, that's 8D8. That's the white droid that sort
okay.
of burns the feet. EV9D9 was like he was like the sort of the organizational droid in Return of the Jedi. Is like, you're a feisty little one.
Middle management.
Middle management,
just-
yes.
Yeah.
Paper pusher.
Yeah.
You can go work on the sail barge out of here. So,
Yeah, just Jabba's HR.
So he's been demoted to the kitchen, and his voice was Richard Marquand, the director in Return of the Jedi. So, and whoever did this one in this one was spot on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that Lep droid scene with it running around the
bugger scene,
and when he's picked up when they've called the droid picked him up. The last thing I expected was for it to switch itself off after being, shamefully caught. I actually think I died of laughter. I was in tears.
Why would
Yeah, worked
Boba
for
Fett
me.
flex to a droid? He's like, picks him up and goes, I am Boba Fett. And the droid's like, I'm out.
But the droid must know. It's like, fuck this. I can't deal with this bloke.
I used to say, I just can't stand people who refer to themselves in the third person. I'm out.
I'm out. See ya. The droid's gone, not for me.
It's the third person for me.
100%.
See you later.
Now, we sort of get an Austin Powers-esque scene with the fire spray. he's sort of having trouble getting that bugger out of the car park, and but it's quite funny. He goes, "I'm a bit rusty," and good scene.
That poor gonk, man. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, I think
That was a long gonk.
Yeah, it was a long gonk.
That was was that a 6-footer gonk?
We're calling that the
Kaminoan gonk.
The long gong shonk. I don't know.
Fennec in that Fennec. I actually thought that was the best scene we've seen Fennec in this season, just kicking absolute ass. She's done a few things, but like she was carving.
She had a good scene where she knew that she just needed to shoot the door, and then the fire spray doors closing on her, like giving her just a little gotcha.
Yeah,
and then it's sort of. I thought it was the best scene of this. Or one, actually, no. The next 5 minutes is pretty good Star Wars in that, the fire spray slave, whatever, Boba Fett starship comes out, and just takes out the Nicto gang.
Fuck yeah!
You see this dot in the background. I watched it again 20 minutes ago,
and
then it just takes out the gang. Like, I know we knew that for Callan and Adam. That's the hard Boba, the murderous Boba, just absolute pure carnage.
But you see, he looked to Fennec as if one, he saved the rockets for the leaders. That's fucking badass. And two, looks to Fennec as if to say, "Yep, I'm hard."
I know, and seriously, like he kills them all, looks at her, and she just goes, "Yep, that's what we do."
Yeah, that was a sick scene.
It's a certified Boba moment.
Oh, that was a good Boba moment. That's bookmark that in the chapter of the book of Boba.
It's the next one.
That's a full page color illustration in the middle, I think, of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Fold the page in the corner. We'll come back to that one. But did anyone anticipate this whole return to the Sarlacc now? I thought he'd just come in to bomb the shit out of it. Just
yeah.
But
so I've got something here. On Wednesday when you guys, Dylan was, had a boner the whole night after watching it, and he goes, "Has anyone watched it yet?" And I said, "The way you're going on, Dylan, I'm going to watch it," and I didn't watch it for another 2 days. But there's probably one or two things that have happened, and I'll wait.
So what were I know one you would have guessed was a seismic charge, right?
Done. And
what's the second?
And seeing the fire spray kick ass. There was two things in this, and both of them
denim jackets.
Yeah, it was T-Pain, and then the.
I got a question before I guess we go too far into this Sarlacc bit. Sarlacc pit bit. The beak.
The beak.
What do we feel about the? I don't know. It just feels too much like a bird.
But the beak was everyone was like, oh, in episode.
It's in Return of the Jedi, right?
It's in the special edition, but everyone was like,
Special
oh,
edition.
where's the beak? The beak wasn't in episode 1, and now we finally get to see the beak. Yeah, it was good.
It just looked like a big foreskin, and just out it comes this
Jewish
full
Jewish
chub,
Sarlacc, right?
But this was cool.
It's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Who the fuck thinks to hover?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to shine a torch down into this Sarlacc pit as if to knock, who's home.
It was dumb. But, it was a cool scene, but it was fucking dumb.
It's funny how it came off like when Fennec and Boba Fett are escaping the palace, and I did find it funny when Fennec had to sort of get out, when you say to your wife, "Oh, I'm having trouble in this park. Can you get out and just see how close I am?"
I like Boba's authoritative use of his buttons, where he's like, "Next time, don't touch my buttons."
Yeah. But I'm with Callan. I thought it was stupid. This whole Sarlacc thing
holy
was
fuck!
stupid.
What do you mean? His seismic charge
was cool, but
that was sick. I lost it, man.
You're going in. What else do you think was going to happen?
Who explores something that they know there's been that they've been there, they've seen it, they know it's got a big stupid beak which it never had that they added, and that was stupid. Who then drives their car up to it,
face like this fucking close,
this close, with no, he hasn't fitted out his ute with 6 spotlights to look in there or anything like that. He's just going in there going, "I can't see anything." Of course you can't, mate.
Wait. Does this mean the Sarlacc is Boba's first kiss?
That's fucked.
But that whole thing, like, I was just going, yeah, I'm just going to have to just pop the...
It was one of the weaker seismic charges I've ever seen. Just
Get fucked.
drop
No
it in.
way.
It was.
No way.
It was just a
That
little-
was sick.
It was just like a dribble in.
It was
like a,
Yeah.
I think Maddie was like saying this is quite derivative seismic charging.
Wait, this is like after you've taken a piss and, after you shake a little bit and just that little dribble at the end,
It was still cool to go off. It was still pretty cool. It was.
But you look at it, I always look at them when I see them in Mando and Boba Fett. You look at the seismic charges here compared to Attack of the Clones. Why do they have such a size difference?
Well, how about the Attack of Clones out big, eh?
Bro, they took out chunks of meteor
This
rock
one's
or whatever you want to
sitting
call it.
Jabba.
These would have been like land for land use only. Okay, those were asteroid
Yeah,
Oh,
use.
you
this
gotta
is
pick up your seismic charge
Junior.
and blow off the dust to just...
They've got a different. There's a small, medium, and large, and there's an XL.
This my first seismic charge. Why did he even think his armor was in there? Like, that's the other thing. Surely he remembers getting out. Like, he knows he got out.
Well, part two.
Like, did he
is,
think he
how
got
is the
out
Sarlacc
naked?
alive?
The Jawa kicked him in the head. He might have had a concussion. He might have thought he got burned. He was.
I didn't think the scene was needed, but I thought it was funny.
They went.
but-
He had to go back in.
At no time did he ever think to sign to his newfound family. Was I in my armor when you found me?
Have you seen these fucking these little thieves that stole my armor? You seen them rolling around in this massive sand crawler somewhere?
Well,
I'm sure we're going to get
I
there.
think he had to get cooked by the Sarlacc again, just so Fennec could go, you need a Bacta tank. It was like, that's how he got the Bacta tank. And
I hope the whole next episode is them in like a space department store in Mos Eisley, just picking one out.
Check it.
Like,
I'm looking for one that's horizontal, not vertical.
like checking out the Energy Star ratings and stuff like that. Do you have interest-free payments? Oh, no. We're going to have to think about this.
Do you accept space afterpay?
Do you take Imperial credits? Wait, one thing we haven't seen yet. Does Fennec eat? No, she eats, right? She ate in that last episode.
She eat now, but there was some good dialogue there with the black melon and, more dialogue with about starting a family taste. And, you can only get so far without a tribe. And then, after 80% of flashbacks, we sort of get a little 10-minute cameo of modern day. And we're up to speed now. Like, the droid comes out and says, you're fully healed. There's the scene from Mando. All those people who didn't watch episode 1, 2, or 3 can just pick it up from here and go, oh, he's fully healed. And we head to the sanctuary for the angry black chrysanthemum just deciding to racially vilify some Trandoshans.
Before we get to that, I'm texting Matt, right? I'm like, Matt, have you watched the episode? And Matt's like, yeah, space cleavage.
Space cleavage. I don't even remember.
Flash dance cleavage.
Yeah. I think it was like Garza titty cleavage. And I'm like, oh, Matt.
I'm going to have to go back and rewatch.
Oh, yeah, let me do some research.
Yeah. Look, just get on Twitter. There's about like 50,000 shots of it if you'd missed it. So, yeah.
Gotta say,
but chrysanthemum, man. Oof.
The Wookiee ripping apart arms. You've got flash dance negotiations.
Did you pick up on the fact that because normally don't Wookiees rip off both arms?
No.
So because I read the scene as like I laughed my ass off because I thought it was he ripped off after she's telling him not to do it and blah blah blah. He's ripped off one arm and given her some credits. I thought it was like we'll do it for half the price, sort of thing. Rather than ripping one arm.
No, but it's because
you half convinced me.
He's like, no, I'll pay my tab. and I'll rip his arm off. Thanks very much. But I'm pretty sure Trandoshans, they grow back. So,
Oh, really?
I'm actually
They like geckos when they grow their tail back.
basically.
Yeah, right.
I think
Not as cute as geckos.
I feel like I've heard that before, but it sounds odd still. But there was that throwback hit at Max. Did you? So we know that that's Max now.
100% Max Rebo. Confirmed. Now, it's quite funny. The Imperial Senate guys were like, what if it's like, a Liam and Noel Gallagher sort of thing? And, that's Matt Rebo, not Max Rebo. That's just, he didn't survive the Sarlacc pit, and it's just his brother.
Yeah, well, fun fact, guys. Did you know Max Rebo plays his keyboard with his feet?
What?
Did you know that? Yeah. So on Wikipedia, right, if you look it up, because I read into a little bit of Max Rebo after the past few episodes, and
Famous
says,
jizz penis.
while the visual evidence from the finished film is inconclusive, production sketches and the construction of the costume itself indicates that Max uses fuck me, I can't read. The costume itself indicate that the limbs Max uses to play the keyboard are rather feet rather than hands. Max was intended to be perched on a cushion at the same height as the organ's keys and using his sole two limbs to play the keys.
Oh,
fun fact.
Yeah, he's actually some sort of like weird thingo, but it's his feet. Yeah. So
Max Rebo foot fetish confirmed.
So
exactly.
Was he on the sailboat?
He was. So, well, we haven't got the actual confirmation how he got out, but I'll just show you a picture, Frosty, if you can see my.
Yeah.
Let me just. This is some grade A podcasting. I will. I'll send it to you now, and basically, it's how Rebo survived, and if you have to really squint on Return of the Jedi, but
hold on, I've got FOMO. Send it to me.
I'm pretty sure I've sent it to you.
Because that was another Robot Chicken sketch that he was like trying to get to his next gig, walking through the desert. I'm glad he did. Like, yeah.
So that's how Rebo survived. He just jumped in his
keyboard. Yeah,
his keyboard and went to the next gig. All right, let's bring this episode home. After we had the lovely Garsa Whip try to negotiate, Boba just goes, mate, look like you could use a job, and hires Black Chrysanthemum for the big meeting of the five families Godfather dinner, and right underneath the Rancor cave.
Right, I forgot about this bit of the show.
And this is the bit where Boba sort of goes, I'm going to tell you my plan, and I'm going to also explain to you my biggest weakness, and that I need. Okay, fine. If you don't want to help me, I just need you to be neutral. Don't cross me. And they're like, okay, we won't cross you.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, okay, just please don't do anything but that. Okay. Yep, we agree.
Yeah.
And
please don't do anything that might advance the story, like double cross me. So yeah.
I've been very trusting up until now. I've hired all these kids. I have a Rancor. I'm gonna ride it with no lessons. I'm gonna trust the words of Danny Trejo.
I hire
they're very highly complex creatures. They're emotional.
It's imprinted
you
on
can
me.
ride
It's the
them.
first. I'm the first person it's seen.
I'm his best friend.
I either kill people or hire them, and I'm all out of killing.
But the exciting bit was the final line, and he's like, I need muscle. And Fennec's like, credits can buy muscle. And then we get the Mando theme.
Yeah.
Your favorite song, and end credits.
I think there's no doubt that Mando is going to be featuring as And I got no problem with that. I think playing the music was probably a bit on the nose. Like, I think as soon as she said, like, you know, I know where we can get some muscle. I'm like, oh, what's Mando? Yeah, but you know, they got
it could be Boss.
Yeah,
could be Cad Bane, Embo. You know, I'm hearing some.
Mace Windu.
For Long is actually for love of money. That's what it stands for. It does. Look it up.
That's actually really good.
That's actually
that's poetry that rhymes. That's yeah. But the whole thing with Nick Doe's couldn't take out Sand People. Like, it's obviously like he's going to find out that it was the Pikes all along that killed his family or whatever. Like, it's they probably don't have to maybe foreshadow so hard. Sometimes you can foreshadow softly, but yeah, it's
it's not Ryan Johnson Knives Out-esque. It's Favreau's very long, very short bow.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's almost like credits can buy muscle, and then Din Djarin's sitting on a sand dune just waving up at them from the bottom of the palace. Hey guys,
doing some curls.
Yeah, you should have just walked in behind them and say, "Am I interrupting anything?" Like, yeah.
But
so you want to learn how to ride a Rancor, right?
Mando, you son of a bitch! What happened to you? You've been pushing too many pencils.
I learned how to ride a Blurg one day. Get your Rancor, let's go. But so I think you've pretty much foreshadowed everything. The Pikes are behind everything. But do you think we're going to get a bit of Crimson Dawn, Kira, Amelia Clark riding in on a dragon? Maybe, who knows?
So they're going to have to age her up then. Like, isn't this like a? It's probably only. Oh shit! How many years after this is that then?
So Solo was it's only about 8 or 9 years. Like Solo was just before A New Hope for 3 or 4 years, and 5 or.
No, I reckon it's going to be a little while, wouldn't it?
I reckon it'd be about 12 to 15
because she's young
years.
She's young in Solo, and
just give her some granny glasses. She'll look a bit older. Give her a cardigan.
I'm hearing some ridiculous things like, that Din Djarin's going to ride in to the next episode in a Naboo fighter. Which makes no sense.
What the fuck is that?
His new ship is a Naboo fighter. Why would...
Yeah, it's like poetry.
Maybe he comes in on the Falcon Millennium. It's like a black...
He's going to subvert your expectations by coming in on a Naboo fighter. People are struggling with the name. I heard someone say... Someone gave up and they're just calling him Black Croissant and... I said, I keep fucking it up, so I'm just going to call him Black Croissant from now on, and everyone's just going to roll with it. So, no. I think I actually have really good thoughts for the next few 3. I think we're done with flashbacks. We're done with groundwork. We're going to go straight into action and war, and I reckon the last 3 episodes could really bring it home and sort of bridge what we're going to get out of Mando season 3. I mean, if a truckload of Mandalorians arrive on the front door, like the Covert, all of Bo-Katan's people, and sort of now all of a sudden Boba's working with them and united, he could probably leave Fennec on Tatooine and sort of move into the Mando's plot line for the next one. So,
Matt, I was having a good think about this and where it could be going in Mando season 3. So hypothetically, he hires Din, right? Din alone. Mm-hmm. Would I be correct in saying that Din still has a Darksaber at this point?
Yep.
And all the other Mandalorians would, although this is Boba's fight, it's, the Mandalorians fight. And then now that everyone's united again, the houses are united, let's go get Mandalore.
I think so.
So, is Mandalore sort of like somebody else live there at the moment, or like?
It was blown to smithereens by the Empire. They sort of control it, and all the Mandalorians don't live there anymore, and they want their planet back.
Or the Mandalorians that do live there, they're split in different houses that, you know, are fighting against each other, so they're killing each other. They
sided with the Empire, and now there's sort of civil war, and the planet's made out of sand in some places from the bombardments, and so yeah, there's some good geopolitical Mandalorian politics in play here. Like,
so do you reckon there's a more sophisticated series on the horizon?
Yeah, well, that's what Mando season 3 could be like. The Mandalorians
Game of Thrones in
space.
Because once you sort of set a tone for a series, like the Mandalorian season 2 didn't really change up the tone too much from season 1. And I thought this was going to be like the ultra adult sort of, you know, Star Wars Sopranos. And I make that reference never having watched a single episode of Sopranos, but I know it's about crime families. So that's pretty lazy of me to just choose that. But Star Wars Godfather or whatever, like I haven't seen that either.
You haven't seen The Godfather?
No, I haven't seen The Godfather.
What? Godfather 2 is flashbacks, present day. It's literally the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I would love to see the 1980s when people are whinging in the streets about Al Pacino and Robert De Niro flashbacks.
Do you know how bad my taste is? My wife said, I'm going to watch Godfather. I've never seen it. I said, I've never seen it either. She said, do you want to watch it with me? I'm like, oh, no, I'm really watching what I'm watching. I better just finish that. And do you know what I was watching? Supertroopers for the 12th time.
Oh, no. Stop, Frost.
Joey season 1.
Hey, not that bad. So the point I'm making, like, apart from my awful fucking taste, like that is really bad when you say it out loud like that. But like they can't, like they've made this sort of Boba Fett thing like a little bit goofy, a little bit sort of, you know, which is fine, but they can't sort of change that out. So I think probably that like if they do a Crimson Dawn sort of Mandalorian hardcore sort of drama, they'll just hint at it. And that'll be another thing on its own. I don't think you can really pivot into too hard. You know, you can't change up from, you know, Back to the Future Vespers to.
No. It definitely won't be in Book of Boba Fett. It'll if anywhere it's going to be, it'll be Mandalorian season 3.
I mean, so do you think there's potential for a season 2, Maddie?
Of Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Nah, I think it would just be a recurring character in other things.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
And I think a lot of people are going to be pretty disappointed with that, and that's fair enough. So, but I think they're too similar. Like, apart from the fact that I think it's too similar. You got to like, and that's what. Like the whole Disney Star Wars thing is that they put out so many comics and books, and they sort of painted themselves into a corner in a few years already. And you got to strike out and start trying to do things a little bit different. So seasons, like different series, have got to have their own sort of tone, I think, and. They've had 2 sort of similar ones. I think whatever comes out. What's next? Kenobi or Andor?
Andor, I think.
Nothing's been announced yet. But I mean, there's potential. This could sort of the Book of Boba Fett could finish, and we could be sort of moving into the Star Wars underworld show, like which can be diverse, and you know you've had that ground broken sort of so to speak. And you know you can sort of move into Crimson Dawn and you can start afresh because you know you're relying on so much nostalgic characters and everything, and then he can go off with Din, Mando season 3, and then you sort of got this underworld show, so to speak. I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope that like because I think both the Mandalorian in this show is they've tried to be a lot of different things at different times. Just, and I hope the future series sort of just try to be one thing, whatever that is, whatever they choose. That's up to them. But try not to cover all the bases of Star Wars. It doesn't have to. It can just pick one, like, and just be that one thing.
Well, so, I think what it suffers from, not suffers, but Jon Favreau's written them all. Like, you can tell, like,
yeah,
they're very similar because he's written them all. He's found a formula that works and everything, but they're not too dissimilar. And that's based on what we've seen so far. I mean, the last 3 episodes might just be complete. This conversation might be so obsolete within the next in 3 weeks' time. But that's where I think Kenobi will be really exciting. Deborah Chow has taken it a completely different way, and we'll see a different sort of tone and approach. So, no, I think Andor's supposed to be next in terms of live action, but I think they might. I'm hearing things like Bad Batch might be next, or they might be concurrent. You might get might have two shows you can ignore, Matty. Or you can pick one and just leave. I'm pretty sure you're not going to catch up on Bad Batch season 1.
It's unless the sort of the kids take to it, it's pretty unlikely, probably. But I think the really good thing about the Mandalorian is that they sort of gave a lot of up and coming directors a lot of good opportunities, but they haven't been as daring as that with the writers. So I think like it's great that they give they're not just getting big name directors in to direct everything, because that's one really important part of any sort of visual media is the direction and stuff like that. But the writing's the other bit, and it's all been a bit Favreau-ish, which it's that. There's nothing bad about it. Like, he's a pretty successful writer, but it's nothing really shocking either. Like, you're not sort of going, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Like, and so, yeah, it's great that they're, and the film should be done by, people that can handle that kind of budget and pressure and, all those sorts of things. But the TV series is they're a chance for people for them to involve people on the way up, I think. So yeah, but that should extend over. My whole point, which I'm making really, really long, is that should extend into the writing as well, and it hasn't yet. It's just the same old dudes writing it.
Well, we're 20 episodes in, 2 seasons of Mando, 4 of Boba. 3 to go. I have a feeling next week will be pretty full on, and I think the last 3 episodes could be pretty long as well. So lots to look forward to. Matty, absolute pleasure having you on, mate. It's always a blast having you on and hearing your voice and having a good chuckle. Tell us where people can find you. Don't
even look for me. But
Google.
Yeah. But thanks very much for having me on. Like, I really enjoy talking to you guys.
It's always good fun.
Yeah. So I almost sort of almost felt a bit of pressure to be overly negative. But
here's a chance. We actually did give us your rating for the episode.
I thought you were going to leave this out, Matt. I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, are we closing off without a rating?
We lost Callan because Matt had to update his ad blocker software. His Norton antivirus subscription. So we had a 20-minute pause, and in that time, Callan had to go. But he gave this. It was his favorite episode, and it was an A. Matty, what about you? What's your rating here?
Oh, so none of them are BAs for me, but I would have given this would have been a good B, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's probably gone BB, CB with minuses and pluses in there somewhere.
And Dylan, do I need to anything with the seismic charge? A plus for you?
Yeah, I'll give it an A+, but it's it's a borderline A. It's a borderline A+. I think
so easy to please.
Nah, I'm still looking for a little bit more, but
that's good because there's still room for improvement. I thought it was really good. A+. I'll give it an A. I'm looking for that home run fairy dust episode though.
Yeah.
I want my Empire Strikes Back of TV. So
I think at least one of these last three is going to be a really, really good episode. But yeah,
50-minute episodes. Let's go.
57 minutes. I want to see Han Solo fly in with Chewbacca and land on Kira's starship, and then Maul's bones come out of the grave and sort of. No, I don't know.
The witches of Dathomir are just running rampant.
The witches of Dathomir bring back Maul and Savage Press and 3 Rancors, and Sauron comes to fight.
I'll see all that, and I'll raise you the undead corpses of Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
They want their water money back from from Milton from Office Space.
Yeah, they've been to T-Pain Scissorhands, and they're just complete robots. But they've still got their hair. Somehow they've still got their haircuts.
No, they're just a vase or an urn of ash just on a droid's body.
Oh, and one of those spider things, those spiders with the brains.
The Bulma monks.
Yeah. Dude, we could go all night, but it's getting late. But thank you for coming, mate. Absolute pleasure. Dylan, as always, you're a legend too. And
thanks, mate.
Not much left to say other than may the force be with you. And I'm sure Matty's got his little catchphrase too.
Good night, my little nerds.
And may the force be with all of us. See you, lads.
Thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. We really appreciate you tuning in. You can find us on Twitter at TMABY Podcast, Instagram 3MABY Podcast, and on Facebook group is 3 Men and a Baby Yoda Podcast. We will be back next week, and we look forward to catching you all then.